right click, go to vertex mode, and I would try to round out this shape a little bit. Maybe grab these two vertices and pull them up, and then these two vertices, hit Q to get your select tool, then hold down shift to select that one and hit W and just kind of move them up and just kind of round out this shape a little bit. Same thing underneath. Click that one, hold down shift, grab this one, maybe pull it down, grab this guy. And again, this is an organic shape, so it doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical. If you wanted to just do one side at a time, it was totally reasonable. You could scale these together a little bit. Something weird just happened. Okay, hang on one second. So just hit undo if anything weird happens. Just hit the Z key. You could probably, there's different ways you could do this. You could select these vertices here. You could turn on soft select and just middle mouse drag out to there, and then hit W to move that, and then just kind of move it down. And oops, I just messed up my view. Hold down spacebar. If that happens, go to spacebar, panels, perspective, and there we go. Hit the spacebar again. And we could probably do the same thing down here. Grab these vertices here and just kind of yank them up and just give some, like, a rounder dimension to this stem shape. Oops. I'll just select these vertices, and whenever you do a marquee selection, just make sure you have nothing else selected. I could scale these in, hit R. Now we got like definitely a rounder shape there. All right, cool. So now let's right click, go to object mode, and now let's hit save because that was a lot of work. Control S, and then go to mesh smooth. So now our leaf is looking a little bit better. And so let's name this like leaf 01. And let's go ahead and let's move our leaf out of the way. You know what? Before we do that, right now the pivot point of the leaf is like right in the center where the origin is. So let's right click and go to vertex, select all the vertices, hit the W to get the move tool. Let's move it up, and let's put the base of that stem right at the origin. So when we move and rotate this leaf, it's going to rotate from the base of the stem a little bit past it because there's like a little bit of a sharp point there. But so now right click, go to object mode. And let's kind of move this off to the side. Let's grab our other objects, our dirt, our pot, and our stem. And let's just zero out the translate to get that back to go to the center. So now we could just take our leaf and move it and place it along that stem. And we could just hit duplicate. So there's sorry for the noise in the background. So do edit, duplicate, and that'll make leaf 02, and it's in the exact same spot. So just kind of move it up. You could hit E to rotate it. You can hit R to scale it. You could place it, use W to move it, and just kind of stick it over here, and do this as many times as you want. So the shortcut for that is if you go to edit, duplicate, it should show you what the hotkey is. So I'm on a Mac, so it's Command D, but yours should be Control D. So if you hit Control D, it duplicates it, and then you could, maybe scale it down, the duplicate, and maybe move it over here. Let's rotate it around. Let's place it where it's going to intersect, but not shoot past the stem. And let's duplicate it again. We'll move up, we'll rotate this one. Let's make a circle of leaves here. And let's make this one a bit smaller. We're getting towards the top. Do like that. And maybe I'll do like Control D. We'll do one more like at the very tip of this thing. Now, if I want to snap it to the very tip of this, it's kind of hard to kind of move it. But if you hold down the V key, that's snap to point. And if you see at the top, when I hold down V, this little magnet with a point turns on. I can either click it on with my mouse and turn it on and unclick it, or I can hold down V to kind of snap it to that very tip and then, you know, just rotate it from there to kind of match the stem. And we'll just scale it down pretty tiny. Oops, I'm scaling on one direction there. And we'll zoom in and kind of, maybe we need some more resolution in this stem, so I'll select my stem and I'll do another mesh smooth. So I'll do like mesh smooth. Gets a little bit of a smoother contour. Let's grab this leaf and push it into the stem a little bit. So there we go, we got our little plant, and we could put as many leaves as you want on there. So I could like grab this one, oops, and duplicate it, rotate it around, you know, move it down and just bury it into that stem. Maybe it's looking a bit too symmetrical, so, you know, break it up a little bit. You could tilt it up, you could scale it. Do this a few times. Awesome. I think that looks pretty good. We could not get too carried away with it, but so let's go ahead and save our scene. And now we have all these objects that are, you know, part of this plant, but we want to group them together. So I'm just going to select the whole pot, the dirt, the stem, all the leaves, and select them all, then hit Control G to group them. So now I see this group in my outliner. If I hit the plus sign, I see this hierarchy. So I have the group on the top and all the little components that make it up inside of it. And so I just want to double click this and call it plant. Enter, and now I have my plant, and now I could, if I wanted to move it, I would just grab that group and I can move the whole plant together, oops, as one unit. And again, if my plant is just way too small compared to my other things, I could just grab it and scale it up to make it look a little bit more appropriate. Alright guys, so that is it for this lesson. Make sure you practice, and I will see you class on Sunday. Don't forget to save your scene.